Detroiters episode 6, third floor. Really enjoyed this episode. I think they did, typically they have all the references and stuff to the city, but this one I think really touched on the actual city growing and how things have changed so much recently. And I really love that, like, they have the tech company come in and, it starts out really, it's them being just, like, really stupid and going to the bathroom and stuff. And Tim actually talking to Sam's butt was just ridiculous. But when the third floor comes in, it was like, okay, they have, the new startup tech company comes in. They moved from Denver, I think they said, because it's like, we didn't even have to change the D. And I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then they get the magazine and it's like, oh, they're saving Detroit and stuff like that. And I like that. I thought that was very interesting. And especially where they're supposed to be located, it's actually in the perfect place because they're in Midtown. Like, that's where they are, and that's where everything is building up in the city right now. And I was like, that's very interesting because there are a lot of places that recently have definitely built up in Midtown, and there's all sorts of different types of restaurants that you find that aren't chains. They're owned by individual owners and stuff like that. And there's all sorts of things being built up in Midtown, and so it made a lot of sense. It's like, oh, they have someone on the third floor now, for that building, and I just thought that was very interesting. I was like, yeah, they're kind of touching on some real life, some modern stuff. Like, they always have their references to, like, things with old commercials or the Vernus and stuff. But this was just like about the city itself. They did have the I forgot what the patty pubs or pedal pubs. They did actually have those. I've seen that like one time. I've actually seen that in the city, and I'm pretty sure I remember those people getting like pulled over. There is someone actually driving who I believe is just like a part of the company. I don't know. I've never been on one, and I would never be on one because as they show in the episode, it's exactly what you see. Like, you're pedaling, and someone steers it, and you're drinking, and it's like you're exercising and drinking at the same time. I don't like to drink, and I hate exercise, so I would never do that in my life. But it was funny watching it for sure, and it was cool that they kind of showed that off. That's one of the weird things we actually have in the city, but I like what they touched on, and I really love what they did where they're like, they're coming into the city and stuff. It's like, we're from Detroit. And Sam was like, I'm from Detroit, you're from the suburbs. I love that because that's a big thing. For anyone who doesn't actually live in the area, that's a huge thing where people say they're from Detroit, and it's like, oh, you're from, like, way out, in the suburbs. Like, that's just true. And it's just funny, that's a huge thing here. Where people say that because it's like, I'm from Detroit, and it's like, you've been downtown maybe, or people who say they're from Detroit, but the only time they're actually in Detroit is when they go to like a Tigers game because they have to go to like Midtown / downtown. So it's kind of funny when they mention it. I was like, that's actually a big thing we have here, where you say like, oh, I'm from Detroit, and then it's like people from like just way out there. It's like, that's not really, it's Metro Detroit. That's the thing. So it's kind of like, it's Metro Detroit, and then there's like Detroit proper. And it's just really funny, kind of hearing that. It's like, it's Detroit, and then Metro Detroit is like a different thing. So that was really funny when they referenced that. The silliest stuff, I think the thing that really got me laughing in this was, there were two parts that really stuck out to me, and it was the part where Tim got like super pissed off, and he started choking Sam when he told him that they can't use the third floor. And he just lost it, and he started choking him, and Tim's just like blocking him like he knows martial arts, especially the part where he like spun him around. He's like, what the hell? And like he didn't even know what happened. So I love that part. And then of course when Sam was on the pedal bike, and then he goes in the office, and he's in, of course, a ton of pain. And when he got out of the chair, he's like, you know what, this is just so cool, I'm just gonna laugh while I stand up, because he was in so much pain. I love that segment, and them arguing and stuff like that was really good, and ended up on the freeway and stuff was funny. Right? Well, they didn't really end up on the freeway. The way they showed it, they went down a ramp, but it was still funny. So I really love that. And the very ending, when the people from the company actually get in the elevator, and Sam actually asked the girl out, they're like, we're going bowling, which I'm curious how popular that is. That didn't even start here. That started somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure that's popular in like mostly this region. But it was really funny when he said that. She's like, oh, my boyfriend loved it. He's just like, can't work in the night. And then she said like, but you just invited us. And he's like, that's not how I remember it. That made me laugh like crazy. Like his whole attitude was just like, can't work in the night. That's not how I remember it. And then he still asked the other girl, he's like, you can come if you want to though. And he does like the deep voice thing. But that was really good. And them having the guy talk about like the Detroit Belts thing, the third company that was coming in, and he was like, "Oh, they're from Seattle," and Tim looks at me, he's like, "It's good for the city," and he just does that fake smile, like, "Oh, you're mad about that, huh? That's interesting." So I really love that. Just them kind of touched on it again at the end of the episode, but really enjoyed this, and as always, it makes me laugh. And I think the show's been fairly popular. I don't know if we're gonna end up getting a second season or not, but I've been enjoying it. I really hope it does. Some people say like it sucks and they don't find it funny and stuff, but I think it's hilarious. And honestly, I hope we get a second season even for people that don't find it funny, because the city needs the money. If I'm being totally honest, we could use the money. I'm not living in the city anymore, but I'm always there. I still got family in the city, and I'm in Dearborn, so it's not like I'm that far. But it's just interesting. It was a really good episode. I think this one was probably the closest they've come to like really touching on certain things within the city. And I know in 2 weeks they have a Dream Cruise episode coming up, and I cannot wait to see that one. I can't wait to see what they do with it. And I'm assuming because they filmed in the summer, it'll be the Wilbur Dream Cruise, because that's like, it'll either be that or probably like the Telegraph. But the Wilbur Dream Cruise is like the biggest dream cruise in like the entire country, I believe. So it would be awesome if it was that one. But either way, they're both really big. So I'm very excited to see what in the world they're going to do with the Dream Cruise episode. And then the next one is called Smiling Jack. So excited to see what we get. But as soon as I saw that Dream Cruise, and I was like, I truly can't wait to see what they do with that episode. But I'm looking forward to that one. The other thing, of course, the commercial. We started with the commercial this time, and the whole episode they're going through talking about digitalize something. That was funny to me. I was like, they're just like making up crap, and it was just funny watching that commercial in the beginning. Like, who films dead on in front of a mirror? Like, the whole freaking commercial was them being like, "Ooh," and they like moved, and it was just so funny watching that. And then like the only shot they had was Sam lifting his shirt up and taking a picture of himself. But that was really good. That was just really funny the way they did that. Even when they were shooting at an angle, which is of course how you film a mirror, they were still managing to get themselves in the shot or get somebody else in the shot. And it was just really funny watching that. I'm like, that's so simple to avoid. But they're just literally filming straight on and in front of a mirror. And it was just funny. Like, I really love that. So it was funny going through that, just knowing how easy that would have been in real life. You just kind of tilt a little bit and it's like, boom, mirrors. But something magical happened and the tech company helped them, and the woman, she loved the commercial because they digitalized it. So that was just really funny to me as far as like a production thing. But really enjoyed this episode, of course. Would love to know what made you guys laugh the most in this one. And, what do you guys want to see? I don't think I've asked that yet, but what would you guys like to see if you're from the city, or, you know the city at least more than most people, where it's like, oh, it's just what you see on the news, which is typically bad. But what would you guys like to see from the city? Because the Dream Cruise thing, it just never occurred to me like what I want to see them show off. But the Dream Cruise is definitely one, because that's a huge thing here. I don't know if they'll do a sports episode, but I would love to see them do something like at one of the stadiums, or them going to a game. Mostly like Comerica Park, because it's an open stadium, so I just think it would look cooler visually instead of like Ford Field, which is just a dome. Or the Joe. I don't know if they ended up doing that because we're losing the Joe, and then everyone's moving to the new arena. So that would be cool too, just to have that. It's like it's last year they filmed something at Joe Louis Arena. That would actually be kind of cool, just as a bit of a send off. But those are kind of my things. I'd love to know what you guys would like to see them show off of the city. But also want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.